Boom, we're back. It's Monday morning, and World Wrestling Live is back live, and we have another incredible wrestling mind in our country. It's the new head coach of Fort Hays State University out in Kansas. He is the former assistant at Davidson, the former assistant at American, the former HC at Greensboro College. He was the first D1 qualifier at Gardner-Webb in their new wrestling conference back in '03. He was the Veterans Greco National Champ. He was the North Carolina National Team coach for over 13 years, and he won 3 high school state championships as a coach back in his home state of North Carolina. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but didn't have enough paper to write it down. But we got new head coach Erik Wince in the house over at Fort Hays State in Kansas. Man, what's up, man?
It's actually my first day in the office, so had to get decked out in my Fort Hays gear because I didn't have any yet. Just rolled into town on Friday, so first day in the office. So excited to spend it with you guys.
Oh man, very dope. And we got new head coach Erik Wince in the house. Let's turn that down. I was gonna, I know we're gonna talk about your choice to go there, but then I saw the colors, the black and gold. And I was just thinking, all right, sold. Great colors. Yeah, I love it. First things first, obviously, with the pandemic and what's happened this summer and starting in the spring, how has that kind of affected your coaching process and your recruiting process and everything else you do during the spring and summer?
Yeah, normally, during this time I'm recovering from Fargo, but right now it's just a matter of just trying to stay in touch, trying to stay relevant because, we're not able to go to tournaments. We're not able to go out recruiting or anything like that. So, I'm just really trying to get my bearings with the guys that are already in my recruiting database from the previous coaching staff. And at this point, just keep trying to get the word out. My plan for my first week at Fort Hays is a lot of reach out to alumni and just try to introduce myself to as many people as I can and really just promote the program and try to play catch up. And it's tough because there's just not a whole lot of wrestling going on right now, and so I got to really get the word out and try to get it in front of as many people as I can via social media, via calling, going through databases, things like that. So that's my goal for the week, is just get introduced to a lot of the Fort Hays fans and alumni and really just play catch up at this point.
For sure, man. So obviously you're a North Carolina guy, man, born and bred, youth wrestling, high school wrestling, 3 different colleges or 3 or 4 different colleges. That's your home. You spent the last, 3 or 4 years over at Greensboro, right?
I was at Greensboro before American.
Okay, before American. So
I was American in DC last season.
Nice. So DC is a cool town. I just had Coach Jay Laval on, and I had Tom Sewell on from over there at the wrestling club. Yeah.
Yep.
And
he's a North Carolina guy. I coached him back when he was a young guy wrestling on our Fargo teams.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, man. Great guys.
You talk about a marketing guru. That whole family, they got it going on. So
nice. His dad was a coach or two, something.
Yep. At Laney High School for a long time.
Man, I got to pick his brain if he's good at marketing.
Yeah. And the dad graduated from my high school. So.
Oh wow.
That's that degrees of separation they talk about. You just never know.
It seems like they're doing big things over there, and it's fun to watch them. But man, so was it leaving North Carolina, man? All the roots you've grown there, or roots you've kind of instilled there with everything from the national teams to the high schools to colleges. What made it time to move on and take over a program like Fort Hays State?
It was tough, growing up in North Carolina. I was actually born in Ohio. My dad was a high school coach in Ohio. And then we moved to North Carolina when I was in third grade, going into third grade. And so I grew up there. That's, I remember a lot from Ohio, but, North Carolina is my home. And, when I was coaching at Forsyth Country Day School in Winston-Salem, ended up meeting my who's now my wife, and got 2 daughters, but she's a Kansas girl, and but she's awesome. She's been the most supportive thing I've had. She's willing to go wherever I can go, wherever I want to go. She loves college athletics. She was a All-American track and field athlete in college out here in Kansas at Bethany College, and so she she was a big part of it. All her family's out here in the Midwest, and I saw an opportunity, and I knew the former coach here. He was always at junior duels and Fargo recruiting, and I got to know him that way. So I've been following the program, and this last year at American University, was great. We had tons of success, multiple national qualifiers, and then COVID obviously canceled the tournament. And I was just saying, man, I really want to get to head coaching, and I saw this job was open. Turned to my wife and said, "Hey, the Fort Hays job is open." Really? And I'm like,
Do it.
"What do you think?" She's like, be closer to family. And I was like, I want to give this a shot, see what happens. I loved American. I love coaching Division I, and but the opportunity to come into a program that's had a lot of success both on the mat and academically. I'm looking at some of the academic team awards they won here on my new office wall, and saw an opportunity to take on a program that they're right on the cusp of being top 10, top 5 in Division II. And I've always said I don't care what division I'm coaching in as long as I'm successful and the kids are successful. So I this was a great opportunity to move to the Midwest, right? Talk about right smack dab in the middle of the country. And we got married out here, and I fell in love with the area when we got married, and I just felt like it could be a really good fit for me. And and so I just plan on doing the best I can do, and getting heavily involved with Kansas USA Wrestling if they'll have me, and then just keep trying to build this program into a top 10, top 5 program. So
Nice, man. Speaking of Winston-Salem, could be one of the best Mexican foods I've ever had was in Winston-Salem. I can't remember where it was, but they used to have these. It was 20 years ago, and we would go there for the bucket of Coronitos. They had the little baby Coronas. They bring out a bucket of these little baby Coronas. It's the only I've ever had baby Coronas at, and
we love Winston-Salem, man. We loved it, and that's when I went back to Davidson to coach at Davidson for 3 years, and we really miss Winston-Salem. Some of our best friends are still living there, and my oldest daughter's godparents still live in Winston-Salem, so we love that town.
Yeah, it was fun. I traveled in the carnival when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Nice.
And Winston-Salem, that fair was the one of the fairs we stopped at. Yeah.
Dixie Classic Fair.
But man, they had back then. There was some issues, some gang issues, because they used to have to come on horseback, and they'd line the horses up on the weekends just to get everybody out of the fairgrounds late at night, because you would get kind of the fight and stuff. Yeah, it was interesting place, but good Mexican food.
Good food in Winston-Salem.
Like one of those pockets in our country where they found a place for themselves, and they are making some good use of their time.
That's right.
Man. Well, that's awesome. So now you're over at Kansas. You've taken the show on the road. So now obviously you're going to have goals. You're going to have your philosophy. I'm sure you're in the process of either keeping the coaching staff or putting together your own coaching staff. And then, I'm sure there's a process that you're going to put together to make sure that these kids are on the right track to graduate, to get their degree, to be able to move on in life, to become, amazing humans. And then, obviously you're going to have some recruiting processes, and you're going to be looking for certain kids. I know that's kind of a lot all at once, but I know you wanted to get into kind of all those topics. So wherever you want to begin, go ahead.
Yeah, so from a recruiting standpoint, I'm a huge fan. We're a state school. We gotta keep Kansas kids in state. We want the best Kansas kids coming to Fort Hays. And we got a great junior college system as well, with a lot of JUCOs in the area that have put out some great guys. Pratt, Colby, guys like that who are right down the road. So my number one goal is to keep the best Kansas kids in Kansas, and financially it should be a no-brainer. For a Kansas kid, we just got to be mindful of making sure we're putting forward a great product. And that's one of my ultimate goals is, we want to have an exciting style of wrestling, and we want to put on shows and, make it, as much of a spectacle, wrestling spectacle, because that's what kids want, and we want to put out a good product. And, we're talking fog machines, lights, all the good stuff that fans are going to get excited about, because this is a college town. The town of Hays, anytime there's anything on campus, the entire town comes. We'll get a couple dozen people for wrestling matches, and because you come in on Thursday night or Tuesday night for a wrestling duel, we're gonna make it exciting. And recruiting wise, keeping the Kansas kids, getting the best kids in the bordering states, who feel like, maybe they don't want that D1 grind, or we want guys who want to win national championships and be All-Americans and academic All-Americans. And that's the philosophy I preach everywhere I've ever been, is, we don't want just, guys going out, and we want you to be successful after college wrestling, because very few people get to do what we do. So we're going to push academics. We got a great study hall. We're, right across from my office, they're building a whole new study hall that's going to be able to house, if we're allowed to have that many in there at this point, 50 kids at one time. So we got great academic support. And the athletic administration is great. We got a takedown club that people have funded very well over the last few years. And I'm gonna get an RTC going. As you know, huge freestyle Greco fanatic, and so that's something that I instill in my guys as well. Is even if you don't compete, you need to be wrestling styles, and just for the change of pace at the very least. And just trying to find the kids who are the best fit, and who want to win D2 national championships and get on the podium and at the Division II nationals. So
how much will it help to have your kind of North Carolina roots? There's a lot of really good wrestling there. I know that some of those schools are doing a really good job of keeping those kids in state. But I'm sure you're going to try to get over there and grab some of those kids up for your program.
Yeah. I mean, you bring those kids in, you bring them out here in the Midwest. There are a lot of North Carolina kids who come to junior college out here. A lot of, because Ken Kepley, the head coach at Pratt, is a North Carolina guy. I've been watching him since he was in middle school and high school. And I got a great relationship with him over the last couple of years, since he works with Team Kansas for Fargo and duels and things like that. So, I'm gonna try to get some of those East Coast kids out here. They do it through the junior college system or whatever. It could be a little bit of a shell shock for them, socially, because of the lay of the land and the fact you're surrounded by cornfields and wheat fields, and but I think it's great. You got some hard-nosed people out here, and I think bringing some East Coast kids in would be great.
One of our Florida legends, Coach Andy Bricker, just messaged, great coach and great wrestler.
Yeah, I've known Andy since he was in college. When he was wrestling in college, he was I think he was at Campbell when my dad was still coaching at Gardner Webb University. So I got to know Andy through some national team stuff the last couple of years. So great guy.
Yeah, I've been blessed to have him on. I know that's not his thing to kind of be in the public side. He likes to do what he does and let the kids get the accolades. But I don't know, I was able to twist his arm a little bit and he came on. And it was good because he got a good following, especially in Florida. Everybody knows who he is and the program he's built. So it's awesome. So that's cool. As far as you were talking about the education process, one thing that I've heard different coaches say is how can we be better at making sure that a kid graduates a wrestler? From what I understand, a lot of kids, if you look at college freshman class or freshman recruiting class coming in, that might be cut in half or only be a third of them that make it to that fourth year and graduate a wrestler. And should that be more of a goal of a coach to kind of keep those kids in the room, keep those kids grinding, or do you think does that happen because kids just kind of fall off and they can't adapt to having to do the education plus the athletic part of it, or do they just decide, or what do you think causes that, and how can that be built up? I guess, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the hard part. And every college coach will tell you, you bring in a class of 15, maybe 20 guys, depending on your recruiting, but even 10 guys. If you graduate 5 of those guys, it's great, But my goal has always been, and it's been great because of the places I've been, we've been able to gear it more individually, and I think that's what the approach you have to take, especially with freshmen. You got to really focus on the individuals, and that's where a lot of your assistants will come into play, because as a head coach, you're trying to manage the whole 25, 30 guys. But you want to see your assistants build those relationships, and you have to build that relationship as well, where you're really focused on the individual and making sure you're staying in tune with how they're doing. And because you got a kid that's getting kind of down, you don't want to, or he's not, if he's not the best wrestler, and he's not, because a lot of these kids have never been in a position where they may not be the starter for all 4 years. And I think that's the hardest part for a lot of freshmen is when they start putting in the time academically and, the time wrestling wise, and they may not crack the starting lineup as a freshman, or if they're redshirted, you got to stay on top of those kids and make sure they're mentally, handling the whole situation, because they may have come from a high school program where, they were the bee's knees, they may have never had anybody challenge for their starting spot because they were that good. But when they come into a college wrestling room, they may be trying to wrestle off for a spot where a kid, he may never won a state title or may have no accolades in high school wrestling, but when he gets to college, he really jumps another level. This kid who's coming out of high school may never sniff a takedown for the first 6 weeks of practice, so it's there. You got to make sure that you stay positive, and I want if I bring in 10 guys, I want 10 guys graduating as wrestlers. So it's a matter of
Coach Beebe just shouted you out. Connor Beebe, he said, love seeing Coach Wince continue to do big things in the sport.
Yeah, he was an assistant at my alma mater for a while.
Yeah, he's been awesome, man. I had him early on when I started the show, and he reached out and referred a lot of people on, and he's actually doing really, really a lot of great things down here in Florida. He's been partnering a lot with a lot of the West Coast clubs, and they've been doing some big rumbles just to get kids in a room again. And it's good to see what he's doing. Morgan 4, Wince is the man. So you're starting to get some love here, Coach.
That's my guy. Morgan 4 is my man.
Look at that. People are actually watching this. That's
great.
That's awesome.
I met Morgan on a bus to Fargo.
Nice.
He coached in Team North Carolina with me, and we share the same birthday. Crazy. We met on the bus to Fargo, and we have the exact same birthday. So we've been buds ever since.
Yeah. Well, speaking of North Carolina, I've had a lot of North Carolina coaches on, clubs, college, whatever. Man, your home state's got a lot of great wrestling, man, and a lot of great college programs, a lot of great high school programs, a lot of great club programs. And man, talk about that. I know you didn't move there till you were 8, but basically your whole life you wrestled there. How has it been able to build such an amazing wrestling community throughout the state?
Yeah, North Carolina was awesome. It was coming up through, with I've been heavily involved. I wrestled in Fargo the first year. It was Fargo. when it moved there, that was like I think it was my second year wrestling at the cadet level. And, so I just, it's just something I've always just loved the sport of wrestling. My dad was he was my college coach at Gardner Webb. And my brother was a wrestler. We were multi-sport athletes, so, wrestling in the summer was always a kind of a break from that, 9 month grind of high school sports. And so, I just love sport. I want to grow the sport. And that was my goal when I was state chairman for North Carolina USA Wrestling. I was coaching national teams when I was still in college. My senior year of college, I started coaching those Fargo teams and junior duels, and had an opportunity to step in, and take over the North Carolina USA Wrestling and just continue to help grow it. So that was my goal, and our numbers boosted, our budget boosted, during my time. But that was purely because I was just trying to make sure everybody was playing nice together. I wanted to bring the state together as a whole and make sure the state was stable from a wrestling standpoint. I wasn't in it it was a volunteer position. I did not get paid to do this. And, so I was doing it for the love of the sport and to grow wrestling. And, as a college coach in North Carolina, recruiting at Davidson, I tried to get the North Carolina kids in, as when I was the head coach at Greensboro College, for 4 years, building a program with North Carolina kids was awesome. Recruiting was very difficult because you look at the state, I think per capita, we have the only state that has more college programs, I think, is Pennsylvania.
Well, and look at the type of program.
Yeah. NC State just flat out killing it, and Carolina and
up in
Boone, App State, John Market Boone. He runs a camp that brings in 50,000 kids every summer, and the fun.
Where is Campbell there too?
Campbell's there, and I took over at Greensboro right as Kolak came into Campbell. And I'm like, come on, man. It's like, so recruiting was tough, but I loved it because it was growing wrestling, and that's what I'm all about, and just making sure wrestling is stable for the future, and and that was my goal as a state chairman, was to stabilize the sport for kids, and now it's in a great place, and Greensboro College is in a great place. That was my goal when I started the program. I said I could either stay here for the rest of my career, or I want to put it in a position that it's very stable financially, that it's stable roster wise. And Coach Birmingham, who you had on a couple weeks ago, is doing a great job. He's gonna bring in 12 to 13 new freshmen this year, and in a time like this, that's huge.
And he said that town too really loves you guys. Like they show up for duels, they come and watch.
Yeah, we get a couple hundred people for a dual meet down there when I was there, and Birmingham's done a great job of keeping that going. You got the Super 32 is literally 5 minutes from campus. So, we keep our own beds and go recruit at the best preseason tournament in the country. So that was awesome. And it's a wrestling town. Greensboro's a wrestling town. A lot of the big high school state tournament state champions, as a team. You got Southeast Guilford's winning them, Northeast Guilford's winning them, Northwest Guilford won one. Those are all within 15 minutes of campus. So it's a great location, and I was just blessed to be in a very supportive town with lots of wrestling friendly people in the area that just love supporting our program. So.
How much of that are you going to bring with you and try to do in Kansas, as far as, we know what you're going to try to do at the college level, but as far as getting back involved with USA Wrestling there and the grassroots and growing and doing the things you did to support the sport, is that something that's a goal of yours too, to get involved in Kansas and all that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. My plans to establish an RTC here. There's Pratt, Kepley has one down at Pratt, but I don't know if there are any other RTCs in the area. So, I want to establish an RTC. I want to host training camps. We got great facilities to host maybe some Kansas National Team training camps for the duels and for Fargo and things like that. And I'm not saying I want to compete for state chairman duties here. Mike Juby is doing an awesome job. He's got a great support staff, but, coaching teams and being, and again, same thing, make sure everybody in the state's playing nice and, trying to grow the sport of wrestling in Kansas, which, they've done a great job. and they send big teams to a lot of the national tournaments, and so I definitely plan on being involved as much as my wife will let me be involved. And but it's a great recruiting tool for us. It's a great way to get kids on campus because we're kind of out here. You got Hayes, and then you got Salina's about an hour away, hour and 15 minutes, but we're 4 hours from Kansas City, 3.5 from Wichita. So and I think once kids get on campus, our facilities are amazing. That's what I was sold on when I came here. We got a brand new field house, brand new weight room, indoor football facility. It's got, I think, 60 by 50 yards of football facility, that we could probably utilize at some point. But, it's a great way to get in front of kids and that may not know or may never come to Fort Hays if they don't meet me as a coach for a national team, or if they don't come to training camp at Fort Hays State. So.
And got some badass colors, man. The black and gold.
Black and gold. I've never been black and gold. So
those kids didn't look real cool in those black and golds.
A friend of mine, when I went to American and I went to the Super 32, she's like, the blue suits you. Now I'm like, all right, now how's the black and gold look? I think I look pretty good in black and gold as well. So
it may be deceiving on the heavyweights. They'll be looking slim.
I know, right? Black is very slimming, right?
Yeah.
Good thing is my heavyweight is 6'5" and a farmer, so he's a 6'5". We don't have to make him look slimmer. He's a good looking 6'5".
It helps hide my moves. Hey, so I know your whole career you've been highly involved in Greco. You were the Veterans Greco National Champ, so obviously it's a passion of yours. How important is Greco to the development of a wrestler?
I think it's great because it teaches you so many different things that you may not know about positioning, how to use your legs. If you find yourself in an upper body situation, a lot of people panic. They get in that chest position, or they find themselves in a Russian 2-on-1. They may not know how to clear those things or how to at least survive that position. And those little Greco nuances of how to move your feet and how you level change and create angles translates really well into your folk style wrestling. And I just love it. I always loved Greco. My dad was a big Greco fan. I was never a Fargo All-American or anything, but I was always like around the way, one style or the other in Fargo. And so, I've always had that kind of love for it, where I just think it's very important. And then I got the opportunity as a state chairman to work the Vegas World Championships in, what year was that, 2015? And man, that's probably behind my qualifying for the Division I tournament in 2003. That's my next favorite wrestling memory is going to the World Championships. And I got, and Ed Duncan, my vice chair or whatever his status was, administrative director, we got to work the VIP section. So we were mixed in. I was sitting in front of the Russian the Russians who were there, and then the Italian delegation when Chimizo won his world title. And, so we're mixed in with those people while we're making sure people were sitting in the right seats. And I'm watching the best wrestling in the world. And watching the Greco was by far the best thing, other than Kyle Snyder winning his world title, and watching those guys and Burroughs and those guys. But watching the Greco at that tournament, just my love for Greco went through the roof. So when I was at Greensboro, we started an RTC. We wrestled freestyle, but we focused a lot on Greco, and we had former resident athlete training there, and 4-time Division II All-American and 2-time national champ Daniel Owenby was my volunteers and an RTC athlete. And so we trained Greco all summer long, and again, just to kind of have that little different aspect, because we weren't going to try and compete with NC State's, the Wolfpack Wrestling Club, for RTC athletes to wrestle freestyle. But if we could create a Greco RTC in the South, I think it was going to be huge. And and so and of course training those guys, I was wrestling Greco every day, and I was just going to go coach them at the senior nationals in Vegas, and they were like, you should just wrestle the veterans and see what happens. And so I did. So I wrestled in won a national title, and the guy beat in the finals was apparently one of the greatest online marketing gurus in the country. He might be watching this. Russell Brunson, people know who he is. He wrestled at Boise State back in the day, and so it was fun. It was fun to wrestle that tournament, and my first stop sign, but it was but it was purely because we were just wrestling Greco all the time, and again, the carryover from Greco to folk style. If people know you're a Greco guy, it totally throws a wrench into their philosophy or maybe their match approaches. They know, well, we don't want to go there. We don't want to get anywhere near upper body stuff because you might get thrown on your head. I just think it's great. I love it, and it's so much more brutal than people realize. The Greco guys always come out looking way worse than the freestyle guys following tournaments, because you're always using your head for position, because that's one thing it teaches you, how to use your head to pressure, and you're getting black eyes, you're getting cuts, and it's just, I love it. I think it's great.
Spoken like a true fighter. All right, you ready for the 10 questions?
Let's do it. It's just like a speed round.
Yeah, kind of, but there's no rules to it. So
all right, if
you decide that you don't like either one, then you can say that. If you like both, you can say that. If you just don't want to play, you can say, I don't want to play this anymore. There's no rules to it. So
I'm always up for it.
All right, Boiling Springs or Greensboro?
Boiling Springs.
Pepsi or Cheerwine?
Cheerwine.
Boone or Asheville?
Ooh. Born. They're both full of hippies.
Yeah, and fun as hell.
I'm gonna go Asheville. I'm gonna go Asheville on that one.
For the beer?
For the surrounding trout streams.
All right.
In the beer, yeah, the beer's good beer.
That's what I got. I need to reach out to LeBlanc and be like, yo, I always saw you trout fishing. What are you gonna do now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, hitting the backwaters for the drum, the redfish. That's what
they'll be marching.
Yeah.
Mount Olive pickles or deviled eggs?
Ooh, I might have to go pickles.
All right. Outer Banks or Crystal Coast?
Outer Banks.
Lexington style barbecue or Eastern style barbecue?
Lexington style barbecue.
Ooh, like that tangy, right?
Yeah.
All right. The Intercoastal Plains or the Topsail area?
Topsail area.
Shrimp and grits or brisket and butts?
Oh, brisket and butts. Yeah.
Pamlico Sounds or Wilmington area?
Wilmington area.
All right. And two famous desserts, sweet potato pie or Krispy Kreme?
Oh, Krispy Kreme.
Hot now.
Easy choice. Krispy Kreme's based in Winston-Salem.
Yes. Do people know?
My school.
Do people know that if the light's not on, you don't go in?
That's right. If the light's not on, you do not go in.
Morgan 4 says, come on, man, Lexington barbecue.
That's right. That's right. He knows.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, this has been really, really fun, man. If any of your wrestlers want to come on, please feel free to share my link with them.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more people in your program that jump on, they can talk about choosing it. And, especially now, you probably have some wrestlers that have had to choose: do they want to stay or go? Yeah. What made Coach having Coach Wince come say, you know what, I like this guy. Or, I know people go with their coach sometimes and call ask, but whatever. But hey, bring them on, man. Any of your assistant coaches you're bringing in, anybody you know from around the country, feel free to refer them.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. Keep kicking life's ass, my brother. I have a shirt that says keep kicking life's ass. If you want one, go ahead. Click the link in the bio. But other than that, and there's a PG version, keep kicking life's butt. So all you guys don't want ass on the back here. Sure. But it was an honor, man, an absolute honor. Thank you so much for coming on with me.
Oh, man. Thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate it. Pro wrestling, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I hope I'm making a little bit of a difference and good luck out there, man, in Kansas. I look forward to rooting for you and seeing you kick ass there. And you have a great day.
Thanks, man. You too. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir.